Okay, so here I need to calculate under A 2 times. I'll be calculating A only. Okay, I'll put equal to, below equal to, and under that a curly bracket. Is it okay? Because I have two materials. If I have only one, then you don't need this curly bracket and simple calculation will be there. And I have to calculate for Roman number 1, Roman number 2. Till everything's okay? Okay. Now this is not minus, this is a dash because I'm calculating for 1 and 2. Clear? Now what does it say? It says standard quantity of material used for actual production. So basically actual production is what? 150 kg. So I'll write, but first I'm writing for this, okay? Then I'll explain you how do you get this into standard rate. So for first one, the standard rate is ₹5. And this quantity is 150 kgs. Is it okay? For second one, actual production, okay, again 150 into standard rate, here ₹10. Is okay? Now we have to get standard quantity of material used. Is it okay? We have to get the standard quantity of material used. When I'm using 120 kgs, okay, on standard basis of 140, then I'm producing 150. This is the meaning of that whole line. Roman number 1, the material first, how much is the requirement or how much I'm using? Is it okay? On standard basis. So I'm using 120 kg. But on standard basis, what is the production? 140. This is the standard quantity, 120 by 140. For actual production, 150. If you don't remember this logic, how do you remember? It is always L. Remember, it will make an L. Am I clear with this? So you'll be writing this by this into this. So I have already written 150, so I just have to write this by this. So it will be 120 kgs by 140 kgs into 150 kg into ₹5. That is the standard rate. Am I clear with this? Will you remember this? Okay, now Roman number 2. So for Roman number 2, it will be 80 kgs when I'm producing on standard basis 140. Output actually is 150. This is the meaning. So 80 kgs by 140. 80 kgs by 140 kgs into this amount. Okay? This is how you remember. For A, remember L. For A, remember L. Am I clear? And you will not get the values until unless you do not get this portion here. And it is not very difficult. This is totally from the question. Is it okay? I have just made two categories for standard and actual. Did the total. So this is the total material used. Normal loss given. Okay, if it is not given, you can calculate if output is given. If output and material used is same, normal loss is nil. Is it okay? We'll have a question like that. So more sums you practice, more understanding you will get. And just to calculate A, remember, you have to make L. So this by this into this into the standard rate. This by this into standard rate. Am I clear? Okay. So we are done with A. And calculate how much are you getting here? 120 by 140 into 150 into ₹5. How much are you getting?
614.
How many of you do not have calculators? Don't have calculators? Raise hands. Next time if I see you without calculators, you're going out. Don't come only. Is it okay? No need to come. And with that small calculator also. Seriously, you have to search for buttons. And again, you have to find out and how to press. Sometimes you want to press 2, you press 2 and 3 together. It's such small buttons over there. Please get big calculators and keep same calculators. Okay? In exam, you need to have effectiveness and efficiency. You don't need to search buttons. Hurry up. How much are you getting here?
642.85.
Sorry?
642.85.
642.85. Okay, keep two decimal places. And remember, this will always be in terms of rupees. Why? Because we are calculating cost. And cost is always in terms of rupees. Am I clear? This is how you remember. Similarly, this will be how much? 857.14. What is the total? Rupees 1500. Rupees 1500. Okay. Now let's calculate B. So for calculating B, what do we need? Remember the formula? Go to your first page again. Write down the formula of A. Now write down the formula for B. Standard proportion of materials used standard proportion of materials used. This materials used is actual materials used, okay? Not standard, actual materials used. Actual materials used. Here actual production, here actual materials used into standard rate. Am I clear? Now let's calculate for Roman number 1 and Roman number 2. Now how do we get the proportion? Stop writing, see here. How do we get the proportion? Proportion of material A and material B is in the form of this. 120 by 200, 80 by 200. Is it okay? The combination of these two should make this value. Is it okay? So it is simply when you are actually making 5 kgs of something, how much material A and material B you're putting? First material is 3 kgs, second material is 2 kgs. So what is the proportion here? 3 is to 2 or 3 by 2. Is it okay? So first proportion here, when I'm getting 3 out of 5 kgs. This one 2 out of 5 kgs. Am I clear? Proportion here means how much are you using, okay, on the basis of the total consumption. So here when you're consuming A and B, 3 kgs, 2 kgs, and total you're consuming is 5 kgs. When I'm asking you what is the proportion, you'll say, so it is 3:2 or 3 by 2. Am I clear? When you are writing in terms of kgs, it will not be 3:2 or 3 by 2 because I am asking you in terms of kgs. Then you will say, so for A, I am using 3 kgs out of 5 kgs. And for B, I am using 2 kgs out of 5 kgs. So this is what coming from here. I am using 120 kgs out of 200 kgs. 80 kgs out of 200 kgs. Am I clear? So this is the proportion. So proportion comes this way. The first one is 120 kgs out of 200 kgs. And second one 80 kgs out of 200 kgs. This is how you remember. Otherwise, you'll be confused with A and B. How did sir calculated A? How did we calculated B? This came from proportion. You have to understand this. This came from L. If you do not understand the logic, remember L. Is it okay? So for L is this by this into this. This by this into this. Is it okay? Now when it comes to proportion, proportion is right in front of you here. All the values are here. 120 by 200, 80 by 200. So we got proportion. After that, things becomes very easy because actual material used. So you'll go to materials used, you'll go to the actual column. Materials used, actual column, this is 200 kgs. Am I clear? actual materials used. So they are talking about this. Clear? So it is 200 kgs. Standard rate, you'll go to standard. Okay, check the rate. At the rate of rupees 5, at the rate of rupees 10. So rupees 5, rupees 10. Am I clear with this? So for this one we got this value, for this one we got this value, for this one we got this value. Clear? That's why I underline. So that you understand, for this whole lot I have written this value. For this whole lot I have written this value. Okay? Clear, things are clear? After this, things are easy. You can calculate this and find out the total, and you're done with B. Since you're done with B, you can easily calculate C also, because those who are not present in the class, please write down the formula. When you know the formula for B, you just remove this part, the formula of C comes here. But remember, there is a difference which I did not tell you in the last class. Here we are taking the total value. I did not mention here. We are taking the total value. This one. Under C and D, we will be taking the individual values. Not the total value. Okay, we'll be taking the individual values. So this is the actual material used for Roman number 1. Actual material used for Roman number 2. Individual values. When I'm saying total material used on actual basis, it is 200 kgs. When I'm asking you actual material used only for Roman number 1, 112 kgs. Is it okay? For Roman number 2, material number 2, 88 kgs. Am I clear with this? Okay? So for C and D, individual values. So I'll write the formula so that you remember. This you can calculate and you can find out the total. For C, remember, you will not write total, you will write actual material used within bracket individual value. Actual materials used within bracket individual value into standard. Am I clear? I have just written the formula here so that you can relate. How do we get the formula for C? It is exactly the same formula here. In place of total, I am writing individual value. Is it okay? Then I'll show you how to calculate C and D. Are you done with A? Can I rub this off?